Carol, do you mind being acting chair for this meeting since Doug Atkinson is not here?
Okay, sure. So it's 4:11. I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Feel like I haven't seen you in a long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So it's 4:11 on March 20th, 2024. And from the agenda, it looks like we have two items. And the first item is approving the minutes, reviewing and approving the minutes from our September 20th meeting.
Okay, I have a comment for them, Stephen. It says we went into closed session and then it makes it look like the discussion is what we did in closed session. Instead, I think it is, we went into closed session, we talked about the applications, we came out of closed session. And then when it says out of the finalists, we decided on design by Shireen, that was done in open session, right?
Okay, I'll make it clear that that you all came out of closed session to make that ruling. Let me write that down real quick. Okay.
Okay, so any other comments or edits suggested for the September 20th minutes? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion that we accept the minutes with the pending edit that we did come out of closed session before voting on the business plan contestants.
Second.
Well, I think we need
Oh, you didn't make the motion?
no, I'm asking for a motion.
Oh, so moved.
All right, it's been moved. Can we get a second?
I second.
Yep, thank you, Kevin. All right, it's been moved and properly seconded that we accept the minutes of September 20th pending revision, reflecting that we came out of closed session before selecting the winner. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Darnella?
Aye. I said aye. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. So, is any abstentions, any opposed? I guess no abstentions and no one opposes that motion. So looks like it's unanimously passed. Thank you. And then the second item is a loan request, Kevin. I'm sorry, Stephen, a loan request. And do I have that information somewhere?
A loan packet went out via email with a couple of emails back for this.
On Friday. It was Friday. Check your email from Friday.
Yes, there's an attachment to that Friday email. It's called March 2024 Ovation Sound Loan Package.
61 pages.
Yeah, that's it. That would be it. That's it. That's it.
But what the loan is, what the loan request is it is William or Bill Stevens has a business, Ovation Sound. I think he also does business under Camel City Liberty Properties, but it's a recording studio and also has some commercial apartment rental there as well. And this loan is a request for almost $30,000 for mostly studio equipment and some exterior signage and some other things like that. But we have Bill Stevens here in case you all have some questions for him. So that would be my suggestion for a next step. But if anyone else has any questions about the basics of this loan or anything like that, I'd be happy to clear anything up or answer any questions.
No, my
Stephen,
comment
this
on it is that, I mean, it's kind of all over the place. So I think it needs to focus on the equipment. We can't touch those apartment units. They're not eligible. And I would rather not, pay for construction or, the signage and stuff. But the sound equipment is really good.
I have a question, Stephen. There was 2 attachments to that email. So this is just for the sound equipment. There was I guess, a manual rehab that we're not discussing that today, right?
That's correct. We had to pull that NRSA rehab project from today's agenda because of a couple of process-related issues. It wasn't really 100% ready to come to you all yet. So there's about a 90% chance it'll be on the next meeting's agenda instead.
Okay. And just one thing to add about the sound equipment loan. I'm not sure if this one is ready to come to us with the outdated tax returns and financial information. It's dated as of 2021, so I'm not sure if he filed an extension, but I mean, it looks kind of stale and outdated from a financial information standpoint. That's all I have.
Yeah, I can expand on that later. I probably want to do that in a closed session because it's personal tax information and things like that. But there is absolutely more to be said on that. Yeah. So, does anyone else have any other questions?
So is the total request this $9,181.42? That's the
That's
request?
Yes. Right. Well, if you all want, we can move to the part where we invite the loan applicant to be asked questions of or to talk about sort of why they're here. Would that be acceptable?
Yes.
Are we in open session or closed?
This will be open.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Bill.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you? How's everyone doing?
Great.
Doing well. How are you?
Oh, as well as one can. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me.
Okay, well, so Stephen, should I go ahead and lead this part of the discussion? So your mic is off.
Absolutely, yeah, this is,
Okay. All right, so yeah, we are the loan committee, Small Business Loan Committee, and we are looking at your application.
Yes, ma'am.
And just wanted to give you an opportunity to tell us about your business and what brings about this request for equipment funding.
Yeah, so 2005, Evan Ritchie and I started the Ovation Sounds, and we were located at a commercial business park near Wake Forest, near the intersection of University and North Point. And for 15 years, we operated in that location. And then we started to notice that the needs of the modern musician had evolved a lot. And we didn't feel like we could provide the same quality of services to the modern musicians because, whereas when we started, the ultimate goal was often the record has sort of become more of like a dinosaur these days. And now people are more concerned about creating content, for YouTube or social media. A lot of musicians don't even release records anymore. They just, release songs, um, single songs as videos on social media or YouTube, and they gain a lot of success from that. It's really hard to make money these days selling records because of streaming services like Spotify. And I actually don't know the names of a lot of the other ones because I don't use them. I'm still the old school guy that listens to vinyl records on my stereo, but um, because of the way that the music industry is structured these days, we decided we wanted to um, raise our bar as a studio to compete with the other studios around and to suit the modern needs of modern musicians. And so we just had to make a decision. Do we put money into this studio that we're in, or do we build a new place? And we were renting the old place, and it didn't seem very responsible for us to dump a bunch of more money into a place that we were renting. It just felt like throwing money away. So, 2018, 2019, we were doing really well, making a lot of money. I happened to find this building in downtown Winston-Salem. And the thing that was attractive to us about this building was, before when a artist either arrived or left our studio, they stepped into a ominous parking lot, you know, not a very attractive place, and didn't get to really experience all the things that Winston-Salem had to offer. Whereas if we had a building downtown, then we could have musicians come from all over the country and be able to take advantage of the amazing restaurants we have downtown and the music venues and, all the various budding businesses that are, you know, propping up all over town, which I'm sure you guys are all aware of. And so we decided, I sold, me and my family, we sold our house and we found a building where we could build the studio in the bottom portion of it, and then build an apartment for ourselves in the top, and then build a couple condos in the back so that musicians coming in from out of town to record wouldn't have to get hotel rooms. They could stay in these condos. And also it would create an alternate source of revenue for us as a family and as a studio, doing the Airbnb rentals for the condos when they're not in use by musicians. So we closed on this building. We got a great deal on it. It was sort of a miracle how we stumbled upon this building and how cheaply we were able to acquire it. And we had a budget and we got a construction loan. And then 3 months later, the coronavirus happened. And, at the day that I signed on the building, 2x4s, 8-foot 2x4s cost just under $3. Today, they cost almost $10. So my budget got completely destroyed. And, I was set up for failure basically, but we kept on trucking along. We squeezed money out of places we didn't think you could squeeze, and we've gotten almost to the point of completion. The studio is built now. We've got clients that are coming in to record. The only element that we are missing now is that element that we wanted from the beginning, which is to be able to provide top of the line video recording without having to hire a video crew or a lighting crew. You know, you can spend $10,000-$20,000 hiring a company like that to come in. Whereas if I had video cameras and monitors set up around the studio, I could just push a button, and as soon as an artist comes into the studio to record, they could be generating video from the moment they get here, and they can either take that video and use it themselves to create content, or they can hire me to edit the video and do it that way. So potentially it creates even more revenue for us by having the video component. I've also started already an after school program that we're right next door to the arts-based school. So twice a week, I have kids from the arts-based school come over here. And for instance, on Mondays, I've got all girls, and we started a all girl band. They wrote a song, and I just finished recording a video for them. We're getting ready to post it to the school so that we can promote for the next semester. You know, we've got a lot of really interesting things going on here. And, you know, like I said, that last element is just this video equipment that we wanted to have from the beginning. And it's possible that over the next few months, if I work a lot and try to save some money, that I could eventually acquire that equipment. But if I could get that equipment installed now, then this first marketing plunge that we implement, we could go ahead and advertise that. You know what I mean? We wouldn't want to advertise that without it being part of the studio. So what would be amazing is if when we, you know, pull the official, you know, right now I'd say we're sort of in the soft open phase, but when we pull the cord and say like, hey, this is official, we're here, we're ready to go. If we had all the hardware, software, technology already implemented so that we could show everybody like this is what we can do, it would just be really beneficial for us. And you know, we really we love this town. Winston-Salem is one of my favorite places I've ever lived, and I've lived in a lot of great places. I've lived in Brazil, I've lived in New York, I've lived in Boston, I've lived in Vermont, but I always keep coming back here. And you know, one of the things that I love about this town is that it claims to be the city of the arts. And so we want to help legitimize that claim. You know, we want to bring musicians from all over the country, all over the world. We want to bring them here to record and see our city, and we want to be competitive with all the other studios around the world. And we want to have the cutting edge technology. We want to have the ability to provide that service for the modern musicians, so that when they come here, not only do they have a great time and want to come back, but they want to spread the word and tell all their friends about us so that everybody else will come. And I have a lot of connections. You know, my sister, Becca Stevens, she tours all around the country. She performed with David Crosby until he passed recently. She's performed with Snarky Puppy. She's signed to the Ground Up music label. I'm friends with Otil Burbridge, who's the bass player for the Allman Brothers band. Before she passed away, we recorded a bunch with Dr. Maya Angelou. She came and read I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings for Books on Tape in our studio, among other works. I just had last week Artemis Pyle, the drummer from Lynyrd Skynyrd, come here. My business partner and I have a really solid reputation, and there's a lot of people that come here. And the reason why is because there was a lot of studios all around the world that have really great engineers, but they are engineers. They're not musicians. The difference with Evan and I is that we're both musicians. Evan went to school at School of the Arts and then Juilliard. I went to school at School of the Arts and then Winston-Salem State and then Vermont College of Fine Arts. And you know, we understand what musicians need. And the crazy thing about recording studios is that musicians spend their whole lives performing in front of a room full of people and receiving that energy from the audience. When you get into a recording studio, you're standing there in front of four walls and a nerdy engineer somewhere. You don't get that same energy. So Evan and I, what we really tried to do is create an environment that feels creative and feels comfortable, and have two engineers on the other side of the computer that understand music and can read music. You know, if a string quartet is playing here, we can follow along with the score and tell the string quartet, like, oh man, that take was great, but you missed that third note in measure 57. And they really appreciate that, and that's why they keep coming back to us. That's why we've been able to keep our doors open for so long, even during the pandemic when all the studios closed down. We were able to survive. I feel like I've spoken for 6.5 hours. Do you guys have any questions?
Darnella, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say that was just very, very informative. Thank you.
Okay, a question, you talk about the people you have. So you have employees, or will you be hiring people?
That's a great question. So for 20 years, it's just been Evan and I. We all of a sudden have this ability to hire new people. We've got this after school program. For instance, last semester I had an intern, and he came and he helped us with the building of the studio, and we taught him the ropes of the studio. And now I've hired him to help me teach the after school program. And I just had another intern come to me yesterday from Elon, and I'm going to take her on as an intern, and I'm going to give her a shot at working with the kids. And if she's good with kids, I might have her also come on as an employee to help with the after school program. So the after school program gives us the opportunity to hire more employees and have them help out. And also with this surge of new business that I mean, there is a line out the door right now waiting for us to open. They all want to record here. They all are excited about the project. They've all seen pictures of the studio, which I hope you guys have seen those pictures as well. And
Yeah.
I have people coming from Spain, from LA, from New York, Chicago, all waiting to come here to record. And because of that huge surge of artists wanting to come here, yes, I will finally, for the first time, be able to create some jobs here for some other people.
So the after school program is up and running, but the studio is just not currently.
No, both are up and running, both in a sort of a soft open sort of phase. So for instance, we started both the studio and the after school program in July. Parents, as you probably most of you know, they make their after school plans starting in the fall. So we were only able to get a few students that were really interested to come here. So for instance, right now we have 3 girls on Mondays and we have 2 little boys on Wednesdays. Our focus is to increase those numbers so that in the fall, when parents are, making their plans for the year and know, we're gonna upload these projects that we're working on and show pictures and stuff so the parents can see, and we'll have some students there at the school that can testify how cool it's been to be here, in hopes that we'll have 10 students on Monday and 10 students on Wednesday, and hopefully get enough people to sign up that we can even add a day and have maybe 10 students on Thursday as well.
Can you talk more about the numbers as far as the cost of the after school program, your cost for what you're going to be charging people to record at your studio? The packet that you sent, the financial information, is a little outdated as of 2021. So just trying to get an idea of, what money is being generated from the
Sure.
studio or from your operation right now, as well as what you project into the future, since you are choosing to pursue borrowing money versus waiting. I guess you said if you saved a few months, you'd be able to pay it without borrowing. So just trying to understand why you would choose to borrow versus waiting since you're up and running now, and taking on that risk, because it is a risk, and it's leverage, it's debt. You're taking on more debt. So
Yeah, great question. Great question. And I didn't mean to give the wrong impression that we would be able to save the money in a couple of months. I mean, it would take quite a long time to save enough money to justify spending that much money. But yeah, so first of all, to the first part of your question, we charge $85 an hour. That's the same that we charged at the old studio, and we will honor that price at least for the first until we get the ball rolling, just because we don't want to scare anyone away. I mean, I will say that that's probably a cheap price. I mean, I know a lot of studios in LA and New York, they charge $150 an hour, but we are Winston-Salem, and I do want to help musicians out, especially musicians that don't necessarily have a bunch of money. I want to be able to record for everyone. So I feel like $85 an hour is a good price to get started. And we do charge $110 an hour if our grand pianos are in use, because they require a lot of maintenance. We have a Steinway and a Bosendorfer, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of the people come here, is to use those instruments. And because it takes money to maintain those instruments, we do charge $110 an hour when those instruments are in use. So as far as recording, those are our prices. Sometimes we offer discounts, like if someone wants to come in and purchase 10 hours for reserve the studio for a 10-hour block. We'll give, like, instead of $850, we'll charge $800. But for the most part, those are our hours. As far as the after school program, I looked at Winston-Salem Gymnastics. I looked at there's a gym across the street, and they do after school workout program. I looked at a lot of after school programs that weren't just childcare, but that taught a specialized task. And the trend that I was seeing, that it was that people were charging between $20 and $30 an hour. Our after school program is from 3 o'clock when the kids get out of school until 5 o'clock. So it's 2 hours. So for starters, we're charging $50 per student. And so, in the event that we are able to fill classes and have 10 children on Monday and 10 children, and we're talking about middle schoolers here. Maybe I should say middle schoolers instead of children. And I installed the studio at the arts-based school and trained the music teacher there on how to teach the kids how to use the recording equipment. And so I have a good idea about what they're learning over there. And so I can sort of piggyback off of what they're learning. But yeah, $50 an hour $50 per session per student. And then we do offer a little bit of a discount if you prepay for the entire semester. Right now, we have it offered. You can purchase half a semester at a time, or the entire semester. If you pay for the entire semester, we do give a slight discount for that, but we feel like that's a good starting point. But I do feel like once we sort of establish ourselves and what we're doing here, and be able to show, I'm just finishing up editing the video that the girls finished yesterday. And once I release that and give it to the arts-based school, and the parents are able to see, like, what we were able to accomplish and what their children were able to do. And I made sure that I made them do all of it themselves. I helped them a little bit here and there, but I didn't want to help too much. But once they see what their children were able to accomplish, and once parents are able to see what these girls are able to accomplish, I think that they're going to jump at this opportunity. I mean, one of the things that I try to teach, one of the things that's made me so successful, is that over the course of my life, be it the colleges that I attended, or the lessons that I took, or the mentors that I studied with, I was always putting tools into my skill tool bag. I didn't know what I was going to use them for, but it turns out that my training in orchestration, arranging, music composition, music performance, being able to play piano, guitar, bass, saxophone, flute, all these instruments. It's given me the opportunity to be able to say when a client comes in, okay, you have just this little melody with maybe a couple of lyrics or something. I can help you take that song and take it to the last level, the fully produced song that, if you get it into the right hands, it could be a hit somewhere. And I feel like everybody's got a song inside of them, and they don't always know how to get it onto wax, or onto a record or onto a CD or whatever. But I would love to help people get to that level, and I would love to teach students how to embrace the opportunities that are in front of them, so that when they do go to high school or go to college, and they have the opportunity to take these electives, that would help them and put skill tools in their tool bag, they won't turn it down. One of the things I always tell my students is that communication is so important. We all speak English, but we all speak a different language. And if you can have a client come in and learn enough about them and learn how to speak their language and learn how to communicate with them, then they feel comfortable and they feel like you're not just the engineer, but you're their friend. Or sometimes I have people that come in and they sit down and I'm like their therapist for a couple of minutes. I mean, the more you can learn how to communicate with people, the better you are. So I always tell my students, like, take psychology classes if they're available, learn how people work, take communication classes, learn how to talk to people. Because no matter what job you end up working, you're going to have to learn how to communicate with people. And especially today, when communication is not so much a face-to-face kind of thing anymore, you really have to try hard to communicate with people. Like, so many times emails can be misunderstood or text messages. So you got to try really hard. And one of the examples I often give to my students, I was in New York one time playing a gig, and this little girl walks up to me and said, "Are you Bill Stevens?" I was like, "Yeah, who are you?" She's like, "Well, I took voice lessons from your sister, and I heard a record that you mixed of hers. And I was wondering if you'd be interested in mixing our record." I was like, "Sure." She's like, "Well, we live in South Korea. Can we communicate back and forth over the internet? I don't speak very good English, but do my best." I was like, "Absolutely, let's do it." So we were sending mixes back and forth. And this one day I sent them a mix and I got this email, and I memorized this email. I know it word for word because I think about it all the time. But the email said, and it's broken English, but I'm not going to pretend to do some accent because that would be weird. But it says, "We love track, but we want guitar solo to sound like bear on other side of mountain." And I was like, "Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me think about this. A bear is big, so I'm going to put a lot of compression on it. And on the other side of the mountain, that means far away. So I'll put a lot of reverb on it." And I printed the mix and sent it back, and they said it was perfect. And that's one of the examples I give to my students of just being able to understand what people mean when they say things. And everybody has a different way of explaining things, especially art. Art's one of those things that it's hard to describe. You go to a museum and two people can be looking at the same painting and have two completely different experiences.
Okay, I don't have
Yeah.
any other questions. Thank you.
All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Stevens, for submitting your application. And we're going to talk amongst ourselves and examine all of the information that you submitted. And I
Thank
assume
you so
that,
much.
yes, thank you.
I really appreciate you giving me the time to communicate with you guys, and I wish all of you guys the best day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so are we supposed to go into closed session to talk about this application, or how does this?
Can't hear you, Stephen.
Still can't hear you.
Now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. I apologize. But yeah, I would recommend that you all go into closed session. There's most likely going to be some private financial material that comes up here.
All right, so I'd like to call for a motion that we go into closed session to discuss this application.
So moved.
It's been moved. Can we get it seconded?
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we go into closed session and discuss this application. All in favor?
All right, you're back in open session now.
Okay, so after the presentation, I think we should give Stephen a list of questions that we would like to have answered by the applicant to give us a little fuller picture of the business side of his business. And then that way we'll have a better understanding about the business income and expenses to determine that there is revenue to repay the loan. And so my question that I would like to have answered is, can we see some history, some actual income history, income and expense history? Does he have any financial statements? Can he create some financial statements with actual income and expenses? Let's say for the last 6 months, so that we can get a determination about the financial health of the studio business.
And I would like to
I would
know
probably,
how many studios he has. What is his capacity? What's the, how many people can he accommodate at one time, or how many studios does he have? So the potential.
I think we need a more comprehensive business plan, which would include some of the things that we are asking for as far as capacity, as far as financials, prior history, as well as projected history of income and cash flow to repay this loan. Also, I think a comprehensive business plan would show the competition and other, I guess, alternate streams of income that he plans to utilize the studio to generate, because he did mention the after-school program. So we would need, that's a whole separate segment of revenue that he could possibly generate, which he spoke to. So we would need to know the numbers around that as well from a cost, expense, employee standpoint, whether some of those interns that he mentioned are paid internships or they're voluntary internships, and things of that nature.
You're right. So it did seem like there's the studio income, the after school income, and the rental, like Airbnb type rental income at the studio as well. That was at least 3 different potential revenue
And
streams.
it's also, they are music engineers, so they also do work with mixing mixing things and stuff like that too, seems like to me. So rent the space, they also do some work, the after school program. And I don't know how he was connecting the Airbnb, but that would be a question to ask as well. Is that included in the studio income?
Mhm.
So I guess we can just, as Kevin said, ask for a comprehensive
business
package,
plan.
business plan, yeah.
And then I think you also had questions about, you know, the trends when it comes to video and things like that as well. So that industry trends would be something that would be included in a comprehensive business plan.
Right.
Are there any other questions that you all think need to be answered before Mr. Stevens returns?
I'm not quite sure if we're there yet, but any collateral that would be offered up to secure this request also would be helpful.
Okay, I'll add that to the list.
And is this the most recent tax return? Did we determine that this is the most recent?
There is other tax information. I'll make sure that you all get that as well.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's I think that's a very I think that would be good. It would not just be good to get that for you all to make a decision, but I think it would be good for any business to have this information and on hand for themselves. So I'll be happy to send that to Mr. Stevens whenever whenever I contact him about your decision today. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So is that
Well,
the
I think
last
that, let's see.
order of business?
Yeah, that would be it. I think I'd probably want you all to at least have a motion to table it and for him to come back after getting once he gets this information to provide to you.
I make a motion that we table this for right now until the client has time to come back and answer all the questions that will be submitted to him.
There's been a motion made to table this request until we get more information. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor of tabling this request until we get more information, please say aye.
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 All right, none opposed, no abstentions. All right.
Well, it was good to see you all again.
Okay. I have to jump, but I hope everyone has a great weekend and great hearing your voices. I can't
All
see
right.
you, but
Take care, everybody.
okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kevin.
Same here.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Guess
well,
that's it.
I guess that's it. 5:12.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.